So I think we have an easier life now, but we have different type of stress than that our bodies are not used to.
Mm-hmm.
We have so much coming at us with the information age. You know, they were in the industrial age. We're in the information age, where everything is just like wham, 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 right in front of your face. We have everything that we possibly need on your phone. Anybody can contact you at any time. It's not like, 20 years ago, 30 years ago, where you can leave work and people will contact you and be like, hey, what's going on? Or email you, or text you, or call you. Like, you're always on.
We got anxiety up here already. We even tell people what we're talking about today, B. What we got today, B?
Man, all right. Well, welcome to More Than Black and White, man. I'm Brian. This is my boy, Paul. With over 50 years combined experience, we dive into all health things: exercise, nutrition, mental resilience, spiritual well-being. So one of the reasons we started this podcast is we know the medical system isn't really built to kind of keep you truly healthy, right? So we're here to give you all the tools that we learned over the last 5 decades, taking courses, reading, just real life, our personal life or experiences, and we want to share this with you guys. So if you're a returning listener, welcome back. First time tuning in, thank you for giving us a shot. We hope to show you the good goodies, as Paul would say, the good goods. Right? You say that, right? The goodies? The goody goods. And we hope you find this valuable. So we appreciate you. Bless up. Paul,
bro,
how you doing today, man?
I know what I find valuable. That intro is freaking tight. I love it, bro.
Been practicing it all morning.
Yo, brother, it shows when you were working with your phone and you were like, had the note cards and shit. But dude, that was awesome, man. Yeah, but yo, we're gonna get some teleprompters, B. We're gonna figure, that was awesome, bro. Thank you, man.
That's when we'll get the teleprompters when we make it,
Yes, exactly.
That's when we know we made it. We got the teleprompters in the back.
That's how we know, bro. That's how we know. Yeah. Well, I was gonna say who I was gonna have holding up mine, but I'm gonna save that for another podcast. Yo, B. What, bro? We got some. This topic we got today, bro. This is like some. We've been hitting up the health topics, bro. Hard.
Yeah, we're getting a lot of good feedback with that. People like to hear that. They like to hear a different perspective instead of what's out in mainstream media and all that nonsense out there, right?
Yeah, bro, that nonsense. That's crazy. Yeah. But B, it's I remember we had a conversation on record about the mental health when I was frustrated with it, and we started talking about the mental faculties. We're like, what? Like, how are we measuring mental health? Like, we can measure Alzheimer's, we can measure cancer, we can measure heart disease, but like, how are we really measuring mental health, man? So today, I figured this would be a good opportunity for us, B, to reframe some of the more common pieces of mental health.
Yeah.
Like, the most common ones that people talk about, well, what? Anxiety and depression, man.
Yeah, I agree. Those are the 2 biggest ones out there, and I think, we can just jump right into it. Like, I look at anxiety and, I guess it's like, they do have clinical definitions behind it. But for me, I think we all deal with anxiety every day at some point, right? You're late to work. You're as an entrepreneur, even I hate to say even as an entrepreneur, but even 9 to 5, sometimes you're putting out fires all day. Unexpected things come up. You're in the fight or flight. So we all experience anxiety, but depression is, I think it's another ball game. This is where really it changes your livelihood. It takes over you. Yeah. And it changes you into a person that you wouldn't even recognize. So it's that's the way I look at it. One's more acute, and one's more chronic or long term. And Paul, we've done a lot of, like you talked before. We've done on our past couple of on our past couple of podcasts. We talked about cancer. We talked about Alzheimer's. We talked about dementia. Yeah. And when you have consistent anxiety, of consistent depression, that's a a key variable, a key common denominator in developing cancers, mental health, mental psychological disorders like dementia, Alzheimer's, stuff like that. So it's really important to get this under wraps.
Dude, you bring up a great point, man. I really need, you bring up a great point with that about how this is connected to those.
Yeah.
And it's very, I see these definitions, especially coming back to anxiety, like a common emotional state characterized by feelings of unease, worry, fear, and apprehension.
Mm-hmm.
And anxiety gets this rap because I think it's easy to get diagnosed with like a general anxiety disorder, right? Because it's like in life in general, things are anxious, man. Like, I don't know what's going to happen the next minute. Like, hey, listen, even if I am abundant and what have you, there is something that I worry about. Like, I worry about like, hey, am I going to make it home tonight? Or, hey, is my kid okay? Or, hey, is this, that? There's always stuff to worry about, right?
Sure.
Yet there's that thin line where the worry begins to take over a person. The fear begins to take over a person. The apprehension, like, oh, there's like this anxiety, like, I can't do anything. And it's interesting because I don't know, have you ever had a panic attack?
Never had a panic attack, but I've been overwhelmed before. Like, we're at a point where I'm like, all right, like, nothing good's gonna come out the next 5 minutes unless I take like a mental break here. I've had moments where I'm like, I wouldn't say I freeze, but like I know something. I know I need to like train myself and like kind of calm down. I started having those. I shouldn't say I have those, like it's like a regular thing. The couple I've had or I felt coming on is after I started doing like more work on myself, whether it be plant medicine, meditation, stuff like that. Because everything you're almost like trying to purge it out. So at that point, I was skilled enough as, I guess, a practitioner, I guess you could say, to know how to handle it. And everyone's mind is built a little different. Like my mind, I don't know what it's like to really feel depressed, because the way I handle something when I put action behind it. I don't sit there in my thoughts and think about things too much.
Yeah.
I do my meditation every morning. I think I do my visualization and my feeling every morning. But the way I'm wired, I don't sit there and just wallow in my thing. I'm not saying it's a bad thing or right or wrong. I put action behind it.
Yeah.
And I do things where I almost like distract myself, but I'm doing things to better my mental health situation.
Yeah.
So something crazy goes on at work, or I lose an account or whatever like that, instead of me being like, oh man, like I lost all this money, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, of course, everyone, I take a 10, 15-second pity party. Then I'm like, all right. Then I put myself in the work. Like, how can I build systems around this? What can I learn from what happened so it doesn't happen again? And I kind of, distract myself from that. And for me, that works best for me.
Dude, so what I'm hearing you say is it comes back to something I actually heard you say in the beginning, where it's a state, right?
Yeah.
It's like, and I think, I think what gets me about depression is that I think most of the time we're conditioned to think that depression is supposed to be a certain way, rather than understanding like it truly is simply a state.
Yeah.
So because the thing is, people be like, oh, I'm depressed. And first of all, in the language, if you're someone watching this and you're like, oh my gosh, I'm depressed, stop. Watch your language. What you are experiencing depression. Okay.
Yeah.
You are not depressed. Okay. Mm-hmm. Like, this is the thing that's so important about language and understanding, like, it is a state. Like, we're gonna I'm a big fan of this thing called I think I've been showing you this, right? Like,
yeah.
So whenever I'm working with dudes, and like especially in the beginning when we're learning about like emotional, like not even emotional intelligence, but like emotional resiliency and just like emotional identification, not just like, oh, I'm feeling sad, like what's beyond that, right? So when I look at depressed, like first of all, depressed is under sadness, but then depressed goes to inferior, a feeling of inferior, a feeling of being empty, right? So
Mm,
when I've experienced depression, I know there's this part of it really started to heighten when I was about to change. And I remember I did a YouTube video about this. I'm like, I think it was like I was in my basement and it was dark. And I was talking about being depressed. And I was like, am I really depressed or am I growing through something? Right? Because it's uncomfortable, right? It's the same thing
yeah.
with anxiety. But the thing I fear gets labeled, Brian, and why we're doing this episode, folks, is because you have the ability to change your mental state. That's the definition of mental health. Like mental health is you got to exercise your mind, your mental capacities, man. Like
Yeah.
your ability to move through shit. Because it's not like people will say, "Oh, I'm depressed." Like they identify like that's who they are. I'm like, yo, or I'm anxious. No, you're not, motherfucker. Like, it's like you're not that. You're experiencing anxiety. You're experiencing depression. But like, yo, man, that's not who you are. Now, B, I want to switch this up a little bit, man, because I think there's a piece right now, especially as we're talking about anxiety and depression in relation to mental health. I think both you and I are on the same page as far as, hey, listen, this is just the state that we're in. So I'm curious for you, like, what do you see that fuels in our society that fuels anxiety and depression for most people?
Man, I don't think like I'm not saying our lives are easier than our grandfathers or our grandmothers because I don't believe that at all. I mean,
Yeah.
I had a great grandmother that lived through the Spanish flu, to the Depression, World War I, all these crazy World War II, all these crazy times.
Yeah.
So I don't want to say, and life was easy. It's easier then because I don't think so. I think we have an easier life now, but we have different type of stress than
Mm.
that our bodies are not used to. Like
Mhm.
we have so much coming at us with the information age. They were in the industrial age. We're in the information age where everything is just like wham, 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 right in front of your face. We have everything that we possibly need on your phone. Anybody can contact you at any time. It's not
Yeah.
like 20 years ago, 30 years ago, where you can leave work and people will contact you and be like, "Hey, what's going on?" Or email you, or text you, or call you. Like you're always on.
Wow, bro.
And nowadays, man, it's
Crazy.
it's constant bombardment of all this stuff that just coming at you from all these different angles. Not even with just like people wanting to talk to you, but like you have these phones next to you, it's giving off that 5G radiation, our food supply is absolute shit. And we live just like in a fast-paced world. People are lazier. We're getting fatter. We're getting sicker, and it's just a conglomeration of a bunch of nonsense. I can only say, we're being bombarded,
We are,
and
bro.
I don't think we know how to deal with it. We don't. It's very hard to deal with it.
So, man, dude, I feel what you're saying. Do you think there's a bit of FOMO to that, man? That almost like okay, so I get this stimuli, right?
Yeah.
But do you think like a part of it is on us too? Because like,
Oh, 100%. I'll tell you
'cause-
what though. Like for me,
yeah,
I love I love controlled chaos. I
me too.
love I love control. That's my ADD. That's what makes me a good entrepreneur. Like I love just like all that stuff.
Yeah,
On the other end, I live a good life. I take a lot of vacations. I have my downtime. I have early mornings, or I have slow mornings where I'm up like, this morning. Today was an exception. I was up at 3:45 this morning. I just couldn't sleep, but I got like 45 minutes of meditation in, reading a good book.
yeah.
Did some journaling, did some work and stuff like that. So like I have my balance with
Gotcha.
that. But
Gotcha.
yeah, but like for me, like I love it. I could not. I've been to some of the most beautiful places in the world.
Yeah.
I could never live out there. I love the Northeast, man. I love the constant like hustle and and
different.
all this stuff just coming at me at all different angles. Hey, maybe in 20, 30 years from now, when I'm in my 70s and 80s, I might not want that. I might want to live in like Central Africa and just like chill with people and just like having a simple life, man. Just drink tea all day and just chill.
And chill.
Not saying that's what they do, but you know what I mean, like a very simple life. But right now, man, no way. I love the hustle, man. I love, time I'm done with this podcast, the way my brain works, I'm gonna have like 3 more business ideas. I just can't help it.
Most likely, bro. Listen, and that's
what about you?
As far as what I think about the phone,
yeah,
or so I'm like you, bro. Like I like to control chaos. My thing is like I like making sense of the chaos. So I can take in, like, I think I could take in a good amount of information, but what I realize is that it's very important for me to take breaks. Yeah. So like, for example, like, like now, like my Sundays are technically off, but it's like a slower day. Friday nights, I have my bath time. I'm not going in there with electronics and shit and fucking jack up my stuff. I'm going in there with some Mr. Bubbles and chilling, bro, with some freaking Epsom salt. You know what I'm saying? So I recognize there is so to answer your question, I think there is a part of our society that thinks, and I'm going to say that that's in me too, right? That's in me too, to be like, oh, well, am I missing something? So I've learned over the years, I have to be extremely conscious of what I take in, how much I'm taking. Because I could do some scrolling, I could do mindless scrolling. And then it's like, I have to really constantly be like, yo, okay, like, what am I looking for? Am I looking for something? All right, like, put the phone down, right? Like, go read, right? That's what I was telling before we did the show. Before we came on, I was telling, like, Brian and I were talking about books that we're reading. And we're both, again, because we like chaos, man, like making organizations. We both got like three, 4 books we rocking with right now, right? So for me, because like I'm training myself, like, hey, if I'm gonna pick up the phone, I can pick up a book. I can, like, I'm into this dude John Holt Bryan right now, bro. Like, and also the alter ego effect is like blowing my like crazy. But I think there's a part in like the amount of stimulation, like especially with like even technology, like appliances, like you have appliances right now, Brian, where they have like your screen, you can order order some food at Whole Foods, you can sign up for OnlyFans, you can make a martini and shit, you can ask it to play music, you can say, hey, send a text. So all these things are like, hey, pay attention to me, right? Yeah. So it's like, if you think about even that, like the central nervous system, like what that must be like, already we're taking in so many things that we're free of even being conscious of, Brian, right? So now you add other stuff in, it's freaking bananas, bro.
Yeah, I feel like it's not the stress of the environment that kind of beats you up. It's how you handle the stress. And you said something earlier, which I never really thought about, but it makes a lot of sense. And I'm going to put a story behind this. Was when you were saying depression, and you had your wheel, and it goes to being empty, and I was like, huh. So I started thinking about that, and the only time I ever felt depressed in my life was when I was making this, going back in 2014. I was a manager at Lifetime. I was making more money than I've ever made in my life at that point. I had an amazing girlfriend at the time. I had my own place. Everything was good. And that's when I started having, I guess, like depression. And I was just like in this funk, man. I feel like I was like in just like mud up to my neck, and everything was like slow. And I was like, what the fuck is going on with me? Like, I've been flat broke. We're like a negative balance in my account. And like, I've hit rock bottom so many times in my life, and I've never felt like this. And it wasn't until I became crystal clear on my goals. I literally sat there for like 2 days, just writing out my goals and just narrowing it down. And now all this like chaos that, like, my point is, once I became crystal clear with all my goals, any kind of chaos that comes in my life, if it doesn't align with my goals, I'm disciplined enough to be like, off the side, just wipe it away. don't get me wrong. Do I mindlessly scroll? Do I watch Netflix? Do I watch Amazon Prime? I got my shows, man. Like
Yeah, bro,
I like
bro.
that stuff. You know,
Yeah.
like do I go out and hang out with my friends? Do I throw a couple back? I know alcohol is not good for me, but do I have a couple glasses of wine every once in a while? Yeah, but I'm disciplined enough where I don't let it overtake me, and it's going to get in the way of my goals all the time.
Speak that truth, B. See, so
Yeah.
listen, bro, I appreciate you so much, man, on so many levels, and especially you speaking that, because I think that's one of the things that few people will ever talk about when it comes to depression. Like a lot of people will think, oh, and again, this is the stigma of mental health, right? And this is where we get, I think as a society, we get lazy. We say, oh, this is depression. Stamp it on your forehead. That like go over here, have a Prozac or whatever the heck it is. I think people fail to recognize that time when people can be successful. I think especially men. When men are successful, man, and it's free of attached to a why or purpose, there's an emptiness that's freaking tangible, bro. Like there's some people that, some people be like, oh man, like this person had it all. I don't understand how they freaking took they ended themselves or they did this rash thing because they want to feel something.
Yeah.
They want to feel something. And right now in our society, there's like, bro, I was listening to this podcast. Your boy, Diary of the CEO. They had this. Okay. They did a study. Him and two of his guests were reviewing a study about the Lost Boys, right? About the male epidemic and masculinity, and about.
Yeah, I saw that just popped up. I got to watch that. Bro. Good.
Yeah, yes. All right. Yes. Please. What? We may have to do a podcast on that, bro. But like, I really appreciate what they were saying because in a world where there's so much social media, most people are alone.
Yeah.
They're not connected, man. Like they have no one to really connect to. They have no one to. They don't like most times in our society. People don't even know what to say.
Oh my God. As you know, we train people, and sometimes like we have clients that they're like, "Hey, I'm gonna bring my kid in. I want to start him to start training with you." I'm like, "Yeah, bring him in. Come on," like that. Kid comes up to me. He's like 13, 14 years old, and I'll stick out my hand. I'll look him in the eye, like, "Hey, how are you?" And he gives me this like weak ass handshake. It's like a piece of linguine just hanging, just floating. Doesn't make any eye contact with me. Maybe says one word like "eh." And I'm like, and I stop him. I'm like, dude, look me in the eye, shake my hand. This is the first part of our workout. Like, shake my hand. And then like, they don't know what to do. Like, they don't know how to have a conversation. And when you don't know how to build relationships with people, you can have a very superficial life, man. And you're not going to have any deep connections. Like we talked about this in the past. Like that's one thing. Like not just schools, but like I think it's so important as a family. Teach you how to build relationships.
Yes.
Who's the how to win and influence friends? What was that book? Dale Carnegie. Yeah. Dale Carnegie. That's a great book.
I yet to read that whole thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Damn.
But it's so important to build those personal connections, and you can't do that with social media. You can't.
And dude, so it's interesting, right? Like, so thinking about social media and that fact that it's difficult for people to build that connection. I mean, I'm curious your thoughts on like, do you think that in itself brings an anxiety because we're naturally social people?
Sure. Yeah. Because first of all, it's not real. What you see on social media is not real. Very, very few things you're going to see are going to be real. So when you get out in the real world and you're like, man, what is this? This isn't what's on Facebook. This isn't what on Instagram. And don't forget, like most people that are on social media are younger people. Your brain really hasn't developed until you're like, 24, 25, 26, fully developed. So they don't really understand what's going on. Then they're now, and if you don't train yourself at that age, at least like have some kind of like, I don't know how to say, maybe not common sense, but like, understand that what you're seeing on social media has no correlation to the real world. You're in for a fucked up ride.
You're so right, bro.
Yeah, I don't know how else to say it.
No, you said it perfectly, man. I mean,
like, like I'm a person, like if listen, it's very, as a parent, like I have a 3-year-old. He's not on social media, but eventually he will get there. Everyone is, right. And I would have a balance. I'm like, hey, listen, man, you want a Facebook, you want an Instagram, you want TikTok, or whatever the hell it is you want to go on. Like,
Yeah.
I want him to be social. I want him to get out there. I want him to get into sports. I want him to get into, like, I'm taking him. I'm going to take my kid to all my business seminars. I'm in an entrepreneurs organization group. He's going to be in there. He's going to go to these things when he's 13, 14. He's going to learn how to talk to adults. He's going to learn how to shake people's hands. He's going to learn how to look them in the eye. And he's going to learn how to ask questions without having fear behind it. And I'm going to teach him that way,
brother.
And he's going to overcome so many more obstacles. He's going to know how to build relationships, and that's going to set him up.
That's going to be huge, bro, because and listen, hearing what you just said, you're really going to appreciate a segment that they have in that podcast, Steve Bartlett. Yep.
I'm watching it this week.
Brother, yes. When you watch it, call your boy, man. Let's talk. Let's chop it up. Because I think it's important to note that sometimes, especially when it comes to mental health, like we talked about, like some of like the social media, the culture, the loneliness, disconnection. But Brian and I talk a lot about what's in our food, like what's happening, and like and we've talked about this in several different podcasts before. Yeah. About how food and like what they put in food, how that has an impact on our hormones, our chemicals, like what's going on with our mind, like sluggishness, the lights, like all these things, man. This is the environment, bro.
Yeah.
So unless you're walking around blindfold, there's got to be ways you got to deal with this piece, man.
Yeah.
Got to be ways. So B, let's start to shift to some of the ways that people can move through this storm, bro. Like, so we'll ping pong. I know you and I got a list of some stuff, but let's go through 2 or 3 that we think. Let's go through 3 apiece that we think will be helpful for the people, man.
I don't want to beat a dead horse, but be crystal clear on your goals, and any distractions that come your way, if they don't align with your goals. I mean, I would say a distraction isn't going to align with your goal. That's why it's called the distraction, right? But like anything that comes your way, if it doesn't align with your goals, I'm not saying don't do it. Like, again, I scroll, I watch Netflix, I go out. Sometimes I, have a few drinks too many. It happens. But overall, like, I'm disciplined. I know how to get rid of a lot of this stuff. And I know how to, not say get rid of a lot of stuff, but I know how to have enough discipline where if I know I'm slacking, or I know I'm not getting better each day or each week, all right, I need to reevaluate myself. Because I'm very honest with myself. And I hold myself to a high standard, and I don't want to be fucked up. Like, I just don't want. I look at it like, hey man, my 3-year-old's watching me, my wife is watching me. Yeah. I need to support them. Not that I have to, but they don't care. Like, they love me enough where I can live in a box and we'll all, might not be happy, but she'll always be by my side. But my point is, I have people that rely on me, and I have to hold myself accountable.
Yeah, brother.
Yeah,
bro. I think like how your family set up, man. Yeah, listen, they love they love you regardless. You be the one to be like, I gotta get the fuck out of here, man.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Like, you may like that corner of the box, not me though. Yeah.
Spent too many nights there, man. I'm done with that part of my life.
Done with that box, man. Done with that. I was laughing before when you were talking, because there's so many podcasts. I know the cast that watches on a regular, they've heard you say this so many times. It's like, yo, if you're depressed, your goals aren't big enough.
Goals aren't big enough.
Goals aren't big enough, man. Because I tell you what, when you're depressed, man, you ain't anxious. If you got some big goals, you're gonna put that junk to the side real quick.
Yeah, Paul Chek told me this a long time ago, going back maybe, it's got to be like 2008. I remember first meeting him. And he's like, when your goals are big enough, you can't have a crisis. You can't be in a crisis. Yeah, things are going to happen, but you won't be in a crisis because your goals are too big. He's like, my soul knows my goals are really big. I don't have time to get sick. He's like, I haven't been sick in 25 years. Some people are probably out there rolling their eyes like, oh yeah, okay, whatever. But when you have your goals aligned, and you have all this energy flowing in and out of you.
Yeah.
Like just this phenomenal energy. Diseases can't live in this area. They can't live.
Yeah.
I was in where was I? I was in I just got back from Argentina.
Mm-hmm.
And to give you an example of this, we went to this one town and right outside of Buenos Aires, it was called Pablo y Casa or Casa Pablo.
That's my
And there's
house.
one, yeah. So this guy was diagnosed. He was a wealthy guy, and he was diagnosed with some kind of cancer, and the doctor gave him like 3 or 4 months to live. So he's like, "Oh fuck!" I was like, "All right." He's like, "I always wanted to build this like medieval village." So he's basically built this village, and he wound up dying, but not dying until 19 years later because he put all his energy, everything he had, into fulfilling his dream. And he's like, I just felt so much life force in my body that I knew deep down in my heart and my soul that I wasn't going to die until I finished this. So I finished it. Did he finish it? He didn't finish everything, but he spent 19 years building it. And and doctors were just amazed. Like, all right, you got cancer all over your body. How come you're not dead? Like, he's like, I got shit to do, man.
Exactly.
I don't have time for this crisis.
Man.
Yeah. So it was an interesting story that when you had like when what I took from it is like when you're really aligning your goals, like very hard to come down with, very, very hard to have diseases in your body or have it affect you, I should say.
Yeah, and I love that because I think especially when we're talking about when we talked about anxiety being a state of feeling unease, worry, fear, I think that anxiety gets harnessed because it's okay. Like, bro, you and I talked about this before. Like, as being entrepreneurs, doing different things. Like, okay, I'm doing this. I'm in this. Mm-hmm. It's like, and even in times like I've come to you, I'm like, man, this freaking sucks. It's like being able to talk to someone about your stuff is also helps move you through your stuff.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So that's why, and even in this podcast today, that with the Dire CEO, they're talking about men's groups. But think about it: if you're anxious or depressed, and this is gonna be mine, the one of the best ways to get out of it is have a support team. If you have a support team, and I'm not talking to, and listen, I'm going to make sure I create distinction. The support team aren't those cats, men or women, that when you call them, they'll be like, everything's going to be great. Don't you worry about a thing. You're so special. No, those are the cats that are going to sit there and listen to you. Not going to say shit. Just listen to you. Let you talk. Let you run your mouth. They're going to be like, hey, man, how can I support you? I don't know. I just need to talk. Because sometimes, man, like that anxiety and depression is from stuff that people bottle up. Yeah. You bottle it up. So now it's like, oh, you're anxious. Like, I can't let anybody know this. Now you're worried. Now you're in this depressed state because you're like, oh, God, I'm sad. I'm walking in mud. Yo, people, I think this is one of the tools. Have your team. Yeah. Have your team. It could be your spouse. It could be your best friend. Hell, it could be your dog or pet. Yeah. Have something. Have your team. That's my first.
I was listening to I'm in this like entrepreneur group, and that we had a private the guy from Atomic Habits. I forgot what his name is. Oh, I forgot what his name is. But he came on there and he did like a special talk with us. Nice. And he was talking. Yeah, it was cool. He was talking about like, hey, have your group of people around you and have an accountability partner. And everyone, he's like, a lot of people are just like, yeah, I have an accountability partner, check in every once in a while. But this is you want to have an accountability partner that you do not want to let down. Like you hold this person up to a high regard, and you don't want to come to him in a shameful way and be like, I didn't get this done, or I didn't do this, or hey, remember the discussion we had last week where I took up a half hour of your time complaining? I didn't do anything about it, So try to find people that you look up to and you prioritize in your life and that are in your inner circle. Don't use your coworker that you just talk to about the water cooler every once in a while. If that's still a thing, water cooler talk.
I think it is. I think it is. Yeah.
Depends what company you work for. Man, the pre-COVID was water cooler talk.
Yeah, right, exactly. Everybody's like, no.
Yeah, but have people that you hold in high regard.
Yeah, man. And that was one of the ones that's talking to someone. It could be peer therapist group, but yeah, and talking to someone and community support. Those are two of them on our list, man. B, what's another one you got?
Oh man, you got to go back to this. You got to go back to the fundamentals. Eat a clean diet, and what I mean by clean, try to eat as much organic, clean water as you possibly can. And listen, I've probably said this 1,000 times, but there's so many chemicals in our food. If you would take our food supply and you would give it to other countries, there's literally about 35 now, 40 countries that would consider it poison and would ship it right back to us. You know, like even like with like vegetables, grains, you know, you got glyphosate, herbicides, fungicides, rodenticides, insecticides. We're all putting that in our body. That destroys your brain. That just eats away. That creates cancer in your body. That makes you sluggish. Our food supply or meats, the way they raise animals these days, they raise it by how much they weigh. That's how they make money off it. So they literally feed it. I've been to these food lots. They literally feed it with cement dust, sawdust, feces, urine, sewage, inject it with antibiotics, crank soy in their body. And we put that in our body, and you expect to have a clear mind? You expect not to have any mental health issues? No. Like, and then you start feeling like crap. What do? You go to the doctor and they put you on a Prozac.
Yeah, bro.
You know, I read an interesting fact. Well, I don't know if it's a fact, but it was on the internet, so everything that I read on the internet is true. So there's not one person, or there's not one place in the world where you can't take a water sample and you can't find Prozac in it. I read that about 12 years ago. I read that. Actually, you know what? I lied to you. I didn't read that. I remember I was at a Charles Poliquin seminar, and he came up with that fact. Rest in peace, Charles Poliquin. But yeah, you can't take a water sample in any part of the world and not find Prozac in that sample. Isn't that wild?
Nuts, bro.
But as he would say, hey, at least our fish aren't depressed.
Yeah.
Reading some happy fish.
Listen, man, they eat more fish then. But Bill,
eat more fish.
You tell me about what they eat. What was coming to mind in that moment was like, yo, the animals probably go mad.
Oh yeah.
And that's in the tissues.
People don't realize, man, you're eating their psyche.
Oh God.
You're eating their energy, man. That energy is not just flesh and blood. Energy is mental, emotional, all those planes. Man, you could talk about that. I know we have so many. We have like what 6 or 7 planes, right, in our body. Not just the physical plane. Mental, emotional, astral, all that stuff. You're consuming that.
Listen, and people wonder why we're anxious and depressed. We're also consuming and this is another thing why your circle is important because of these different fields. Like, yo, you're taking in a lot of stuff.
Oh man, yeah,
a lot of stuff. And listen, that's also where, and this is my second one is going to be the tech bound, like you have with the food and like what we eat clean. I'm going to have tech boundaries and digital detoxes. You know, I love that shit. Especially
I know you do, but
love it, man. Because like I can listen, take it all away. Let me read my book and sit in peace, man. Hum, sing, chant, kumbaya, whatever. But listen, the reason why this is one of the powerful tools because we talked about social media and being addicted to that and the dopamine hits, but also the lights from the phones can create more. You're going to be more awake, so it's going to be tougher for you to get to sleep.
Yeah.
Your rhythms are going to get all jacked off. Is it?
We talking about this now? Isn't that next week's topic? Isn't that next week's topic?
Yes, it can be. Yeah, yeah, there we go. Yep.
Sneak preview, guys.
Yeah, there we go. And digital, stay off the porn for a little bit. But digital. So those tech boundaries, and even like if you're following us on Instagram, if you have yet to follow us, there's a couple that we put out there like for boundaries, like take an hour before bed, no phone. Hour after you wake up, like no phones, man.
Yeah.
Digital detox. Can you go a day without your phone?
It's tough.
That's tough, bro. Like, Yo, I remember there was a couple days, like when I was like a little off and stuff, I left my phone at home by accident. I didn't mean to, but I was just like,
Yeah.
then I just settled in, and then I was like, oh, okay, I'm actually okay. I'm okay. So that's the tool I got, man. Digital detox. Take the tech boundary, God damn it. B, let's do one more each, and then we'll wrap it up.
Sleep, man. Sleep. Sleep. There's a direct correlation with poor sleep hygiene and mental illness.
Oh,
There's a direct correlation. So yeah, right. You have the circadian rhythm, right? Goes by the sunrise, sunset. Between the hours of, we talked about this before, between the hours of 10 p.m. and 2 a.m., your body goes through a physical repair. And we talked about this in a past episode too. Everyone knows the lymphatic system. We have something called the glymphatic system, and the glymphatic system is the blood vessels in the brain. And during the day, these blood vessels, they start getting built up with plaque. So between the hours of 10 and 2 a.m., while you're sleeping, the glymphatic system opens up and it starts helping drain all that plaque out of your blood vessels. So that helps with dementia, Alzheimer's, any kind of mental illness too. Then between the hours of 2 a.m. through 6 a.m., your body goes through almost like the best way to describe it is like it erases the stress that you put on your body, the mental, emotional, psychic stress that you put on your body that day. I'm not saying it all goes away and you wake up the next morning and you're like, hey, but it helps you kind of clear your nervous system out a little bit. So, and then the important thing to know about that is between those hours, that 8 hour window. Say, for example, you're a night shift work and you get home at say 6 o'clock in the morning, then you go to bed. You don't get any of that. You don't get that physical and psychological repair. Even if you sleep the next 16 hours, it's only during those times. That's the way our body's wired. Because after about three months of being born, your body gets wired with this internal clock in there. So if you're a shift worker, that's why like heart attacks and mental illness is really high in those shift workers, whether it be cops, whether it be, doctors and nurses and stuff like that, whatever you do, it's high. So you need to take extra care for yourself. I'm not saying quit your job, but you need to take really extra care for yourself. Otherwise you're more susceptible to these mental illnesses.
Damn, bro. Thank you for that one. That's a good one. Damn, that's a good one.
Yeah, sleep.
Sleep is, man. I'm gonna go take a nap after this. My last one is, I guess it's a combo. I'm gonna say, up level your emotional communication. What do I mean by that? Go beyond your emotion. So, like, for example, this feeling wheel.
Mm-hmm.
Like, identify what's really going on. Okay. Now, when we talked about when you're depressed, but like what may be happening is, and just this is just like working with people in circles and things, is that what people think they are, they're nothing even close. It's something else there at play. The thing is, though, is that most people have yet to know how to communicate what they're experiencing. You notice I said what they're experiencing rather than what they are. Like, are you sad? Are you happy? You're experiencing these things. Because even just making that switch, people, and saying, I'm experiencing, you begin to turn the dial and you get yourself out of a stuck state. As soon as you say I am, that's how you're identifying.
Yeah, people like to label themselves. I'm like, man.
Like, why?
Like, exactly. I was about to say that. Like, why? Why?
Get out
like, I figured it out. I'm this. Okay. Yeah. Are you really that, or are you just experiencing? Is that how you truly are,
bruh?
Like when you pass over and you go into the next life, that's still you. That's who you are. No, I don't think so. You're experiencing that. That's perfect the way you said it.
Yeah, bro. It's nuts. I remember my man John Tompkins. He was the dude that put me onto it. I was like, oh, Junk, that's right. Because we say all the time, oh, I'm pissed off. No. Like, is that your name on? Your name's Pissed Off? You're pissed off? Yeah. Oh, what's up, Pissed Off? How you doing? Oh, shit, wow. When I would say do that to dudes, right? In the circle, they'd be like, yo, I'm pissed off today. Oh, what's up, pissed off? They're like, what?
Yeah.
See, so you're not pissed off. You're experiencing agitation.
People don't understand the power of language, man.
Ah!
That's you, man. That's right up your block, man. Like, you can talk on that for hours.
Hours, days, probably a couple eons,
Yeah.
bro. Probably a couple eons. That's another book I just finished a couple weeks ago, The Art of Communication by Thich Nhat Hanh. However say his name. Thich Nhat Hanh. Thich Nhat Hanh. No disrespect.
Don't know, so I believe you.
Yeah, you believe it. Yeah, he's okay. There we go.
Yeah.
All right, listen, let's get the final reflections in, B. I don't know what I just did. Oh, I'm on full screen now. Perfect. All right, so let's get the final reflections in. And the final reflection, like, what's the last words you got for the listeners, man? Like, it could be something that we covered today or something that you want to bring in that we have yet to cover.
I'm a big morning routine guy. I've been doing the same morning routine probably since, man, once I started really identifying with my goals, right back in like 2015 or so, 2014, 2015. Yeah. My biggest thing every morning, don't miss it, no matter what it is. I guess like 2 hours or whatever. I visualize and I feel every morning for about 10, 15 minutes. I visualize where I want to go, where I want to be. Yeah. I visualize the end result. And the most important thing is I feel it with every cell of my body. My whole body is just vibrating. I don't leave that spot until I do. Yeah. So whether it be like, all right, I got this, every year one of my contracts, they always renew. It's a big contract. I visualize myself getting the email, hey, contract, we're going to renew the contract another year. And I just big smile on my face, and I just like, yeah, let's fucking go. And that's what I do every single morning. And then I'm like, all right, I picture myself in, another country that I want to visit, maybe like for a month. I picture myself my day to day, what I'm going to be doing for that month, and I just feel it. I feel the sun on me, or wherever I am, and I just feel it. Yeah. And I have a good routine every morning. Then maybe after about 10, 15 minutes of that, I'll just sit in peace, just work on my breath for a good 3 to 4 minutes. And then I get out of there and I begin my controlled chaos of a day.
And so it is, baby. And so it is. So I'm hearing this like morning routine is key.
Morning routine, man. Have yourself a morning routine. And I'm very big. And I mean, we've done episodes on visualization and feeling of the heart. The heart coherence. If you haven't seen those videos, man, I highly recommend watching them or watch some kind of video on it. You put that into practice, it'll change your life. That's the most important thing. I would not be where I am today without those visualization and feeling.
Feeling is a secret, man.
It is.
Never got it too, man. Listen. B, that was good, man. Let's leave it at that, bro. Like that was.
No. You're not getting off that easy.
I was about to say, come on, man.
Get your ass back in here.
So like, so my final thought, man, because that was good, man. I'm thinking about that one, like, because feeling really is the secret, right? And I think the last reflection I have is where your attention goes, energy flows. Yeah. So one of the things, like what Brian said, is when I heard in what you said is when you align to where you want to go, then you were like, okay, you have in the visualization where you want to go. And I think that's when I talk about where your attention goes, energy flows, because if my attention is on being in a depressed state, then that's where all my energy is going to be. Mm-hmm. So where do you want your energy? Like, yeah. And one of the things, it's okay to not be okay. Brian and I are free of saying, like, you can't be in these states. That's far from what we're saying. Mm-hmm. What we're saying is you can have the state, but be free of staying there. Mm-hmm. Like Brian got a 15-second pity party. Mine varies from like either 30 minutes to like a day. I don't know. But yeah, like,
I've caught you in a few.
You caught me in more than a few. More than a few. But like, I think that's the piece, right? So like starting to bring specific attention to where your attention is. Are you focusing on these things that continue to that you think are putting you in a depressed state or making you anxious? Well, what's really behind it?
Yeah.
What is really making you this? What do you think is making you this way? And focus on that energy to move through it. What's beyond it? Focus on that energy, and that's where put your attention on that, and that's where your energy will go.
Yeah, and I would double click on that and say, when you're feeling that way, is that feeling going to help you get to your goals, or is it not? And if it's not, chances are it's not. Try to get out of there as quick as possible. Put some kind of action behind it. Get rid of that feeling. I've studied thoughts for probably the last 20 years. And if you understand what thoughts are, you'll never want to have a bad thought. You will not want to have a bad thought. And thoughts are things, man. Thoughts are things just like phone's a thing. We just don't see it. You know, we don't have that technology to see it, but it's there. Thoughts are things. So
yes, man.
If it doesn't align with your goals, get rid of it, man.
Bruh, listen, thought forms are real, man. Don't. Listen, man, we got one more in the health series. We got a gut health.
Okay? Oh, it's gonna be a good one. I can't wait for that.
Brian's gonna be geeking out, so you want to make sure that you are here for that one. Listen, man, B, actually, man, you did such a good job on the intro. You want to take us out on the outro?
All right, Well, we appreciate you guys listening. If you have any questions, please feel free to write in the comments. We love the comments. I love answering people. I love to hear your feedback, what you want to hear in the future. Please like, share, subscribe. We're over on Instagram too, at More Than Black and White Podcast. We're crushing it over there. We're crushing it for us. We've been having it up for about maybe less than a year. We have over 12,000 followers. So getting a lot of good traffic over there. So we appreciate you. And again, thank you so much. Paul, any last words, my man?
That was it, man. Brian, bless up to you, man. B's doing the intros and the outros from now on.
Hey, isn't it More Than Black and White Podcast?
More Than Black or White, man.
That's it? Okay.
That's the man.
That's the email?
Yeah, bro.
Okay, all right. My bad. All right. I have it automatically saved in there. Right? More Than Black and White Podcast at Instagram. I'm confused. Too much control, too much chaos.
The main thing is it's more than black or white.
More than black or white. I like it.
And so it is, and so it is, and so it is. Peace out, everybody. Until next time, we out of here. Peace.